Welcome. This is Jessica and Debbie with Be On It, episode 9.
Hey Jessica, what's going on in the beehive today?
Hey, Debbie. I was just thinking about the phrase being content and what that means. For me, I had to think about what contentment is because I haven't always been content. I think of it as a state of being happy with where you're at currently, and it's a feeling of kind of peace and satisfaction. What do you think of it as?
Funny you ask, because I kind of was thinking the same thing. I also consider it a state of being, but it's a mental state of being. So contentment to me equates something going on mentally where I feel content. Generally speaking, you can achieve it at any stage of life where you're conscious.
Oh, I totally agree. I was thinking back on times where, and it took me a long time to feel complete contentment. It's like I think it's ebbs and flows where sometimes you don't feel contentment and you do something to feel content. But for
Mhm.
me, I think back when I wasn't content and it was just kind of this nagging itch to do more. It was this
Mm.
constant feeling of needing to be more fulfilled and that something is missing. And it kind of took me down this road where this kind of feeling like I wasn't doing enough and that I hadn't achieved everything that I had set out to do. And I just kept over the years trying to figure out what's going to bring me contentment and happiness.
So, do you feel like the discontentment that you felt was just related to you? Were there any other people involved?
I think it was my own contentment. It was my
Mm.
own thing that I needed to work through. It was self-contentment. I felt content in every other aspect for the most part. Did I want certain things to be, I would have been more content with certain things back then as well, but I felt like that was going to be something that for the time being I was content with. And
Hmm.
then later I would reapproach as
Do
time
you
went on.
do you feel like it's more like a feeling of feeling adequate, or is that something totally different, you think?
I feel like that for me, that's something different. It just was
Okay.
this sense of like, what's my purpose?
Okay.
Like, in this drive to, like, I needed to do more. Like, what I was doing, like, I was raising two beautiful kids and I was working a job that was helping others, but I still felt like there was something more and I couldn't figure out what that something more was. And I didn't know if it was because, am I in the wrong career? Is there something, should I go back to college? What is it that's motivating me and making me feel like I need to do more?
Hmm.
And it took a lot of growing. And what I learned is it took a lot of time and maturity and lots of self-reflection to realize that I get to choose contentment at any time in my life.
Hmm.
And what I learned was you're in control of your own life, and if you're not happy about something in it, you have
Hmm.
the power to change that. And I don't always think that I believed that. I felt like, well, this is just my lot in life. This is how it's going to be. And it wasn't until I got older and, I had kept going in circles and expecting a different result. And it just wasn't until I started to change little things that I really noticed overall. I was feeling lighter and I felt that I achieved the most important things in my life and that I
Hmm.
could really be happy where I was currently at
Hmm.
and find contentment as well as still achieve more goals I had set for myself.
Okay. So it's kind of like a balance of letting go
It's a balance of letting go. Yeah, that's a
and then
really good
also
way to put
working
it.
towards something. Like it's like a
Exactly.
balance. Like if you were on a seesaw, and one side
Exactly.
was letting go of certain expectations, and the other side is maybe striving towards other goals.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's really what it was for me. For you over the years, what was
Hmm.
contentment and did it change?
Never thought about it all that much as a young person. So I don't know that I really felt or acknowledged whether I was content. I'm looking at it now and I do feel periods or moments of contentment. I think it relates to my perspective because at any given moment, I can see other people around me who have more problems or difficult problems or challenges. And then I can see other people that are doing really well for themselves. And so the grass looks a little greener on that side. So to me, it's just a matter of getting my perspective right. I will say this though, I will say that when I am in nature, it almost feels like time slows down or pauses. That's when I feel it the most, especially when I'm noticing my breath in and my breath out. I'm feeling the sunshine on my skin and the warmth that it's giving me, and just feeling my blood circulating throughout my body. Those are the moments that I really treasure and when I feel contentment.
Well, that sounds so nice, Debbie. I think when you mentioned that, I think for me, we would take the kids annually and go camping, and
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like that brought our family together and just being outdoors and not using our phones or being on laptops and just really focusing on family and just having fun throughout the day and cooking together and just all those core memories that at the time brought me complete happiness. And that's why I think I
Mm.
looked forward to it every year. Or if we would travel and go somewhere for a long weekend, oh, just the joy that it brought me. And I just always felt so happy. I just wanted to bottle it up.
So, your contentment was obviously your connection with your family.
Big time.
Okay.
Yeah, not only with career, but with family. I felt like at the time I was having to work and I felt guilty about being a working mom. And so when I had time off, I really valued that with my kids because I never wanted them to feel like I wasn't there for them. So there was always this like discontent that I wasn't doing enough for them.
Mhm.
Even though rationally, now I think about it, I was always there for them. I volunteered on the PTA. I was there in the mornings for them. After my night shift, I took them to school, picked them up. I was there for every major thing. But
Mhm.
I think it's this like complex that we as women put on ourselves. I don't know if we create our own discontent with that and or if some people feel contentment that they're doing the best they can, but I always felt guilty like I wasn't. Like I
Mhm.
could be doing more.
Yeah, I mean, we could always do more, but with it.
Right, it's not always a reality, you have to
Exactly.
work. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, the word contentment, it does sound simple, but it actually is really complex for me. For me, it's, as we mentioned, it's a state of being, but when I consider what lies underneath it, it's rejecting perfection because I'm never going to be perfect. I already know that. That's a blanket statement. I'm going to reject perfection. I can strive towards goals, but I'm not going to be 100% perfect. It's allowing errors to happen. So being friendly with errors. And then in the process of making an error, I can correct myself, and then I can develop, have new and different practices. And that requires time and space as well. When I am in a contented space, I feel more stable and I feel more secure. I'm not looking to achieve perfection, but I'm looking to achieve growth. It's kind of like that balancing act, like we talked about, like being on the in the middle of the seesaw. I feel like it's just being kind to myself when I get down to the granular part of what makes me contented. And a big part of that is taking care of myself. Yeah, I didn't feel like I took care of myself for the longest time because I had other priorities like my kids, my job, and now thankfully I'm in a space where I can take better care of myself. Hopefully, it's not too late though, because when you've stressed your mind and your body, certain changes happen, and some of those are reversible and some of those are not.
I think, I like the mention of perfection. I think that I was a perfectionist. I'm now a reformed perfectionist.
Hmm.
Um, because I think it was this sense of like control. That was something that I could control in my environment. If I kept my house a certain way, if I went to work between this time and this time, the time, my time management, those were things that were in my control. And I think that just stems back from a trauma childhood where things were so much out of control. I couldn't control those situations, but I can control my behavior, the things that I wanted to work on. And I kind of think too that maybe I didn't always feel contentment because I was constantly growing and learning. And
Hmm.
so when you're in that constant state of learning, you might feel content on one thing, but then there's that other thing that you're still trying to achieve and work on. So you don't completely feel it. And now that I look back, I'm like, you got to take steps and you got to like just achieve those small goals so you can feel complete contentment and then move on to the next thing. I don't know if everybody has that like that need to just keep on going and keep on growing. I don't think everybody does. Some people are just maybe content from the start. I'm just not one of those people and I never will be.
Did you in those moments, did you acknowledge and did you feel like you were doing the best that you could?
I look back now and I know I was doing the best I could.
Right.
I guess I did look at it and go, you know what? I'm really doing the best I can in this
Mm-hmm.
situation. I have to work. Do I feel guilty that I have to be a working parent? Yes. But that's the way it is. I did. I had a lot of self-talk, positive
Mm-hmm.
self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
And like I had to like really be rational and know that nobody's perfect and I was really hard on myself that took a lot of years and really I'm just kind of coming into that where you're right, the self-care. I would put everybody else's needs first before my own, and so that took a lot of years for me to go, okay, if I'm content
Mm-hmm.
or if I do some self care, I'm going to be content, and therefore that will trickle out in my life. So I learned that a little later than I want to admit
Mm-hmm.
about how important self care is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, very important. It should be done from the get-go.
Yeah.
I think that in your situation and in my situation, we were able to do more self-care due to circumstances, i.e., like your children are getting older, so they don't need you to do all these other things as much as they did when they were younger. I think, irregardless, self-care is so important, and it doesn't have to be some big drawn out thing. It can be little bits of self-care throughout the day.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
I just remember, when I'd get the kids off to school, I really valued just being able to do the simplest things like go to the grocery store by myself or do the laundry or eat lunch by myself because I was not interrupted. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
So those moments I did try to capture self-care during that time, but like the true sense of self-care, I really neglected some of my passions and hobbies that I wanted to do because I put my kids' hobbies and their passions and my husband's passions first. So
Mm-hmm.
that when I look back, I wish I had like always pursued the things that I wanted to do as well. So that's one thing I would change if I could go back. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, I'm pretty happy. My most important job was to be a mom and raise my kids. And
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't raising kids, I was raising them to be adults. So if I've achieved that, I'm happy and satisfied. And really, their happiness is what's important. And I tell them this all the time. I go, I wouldn't want you to be doing something that didn't bring you happiness because ultimately, you want to be happy with anything that you do in life. And if it's not bringing you joy or happiness, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. Finding contentment, even if it's just one step at a time, you gotta find it. If you're not content, keep taking steps in the right direction until you find out what that is. You're gonna get it,
Well,
basically.
speaking of discontentment, the opposite of contentment, if you are having discontentment, I think you should really sit down and ask yourself why and really just address it. I mean, if I should have just taken a deep dive. I'm a little older now, and obviously things have changed for me, so I can reflect better at this vantage point, but I really should have addressed it because sometimes discontentment arises out of conflict with other people too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not something that you can just handle on your own. If it does involve other people, I think it's a good idea to just ask yourself why and then hopefully address it in a diplomatic way. Don't go all crazy or anything. I will say this though, that when I ponder what discontentment means to me, some things did come up. The two, and I have a metaphor too. The two items that came up were I feel discontented when I get stuck and I feel trapped. Those are the two big areas in which I don't feel well. When I want to do something and I feel like I can't because somebody's in my way. And I had a metaphor because thinking about the garden, when you plant strawberries, there is a part of the strawberry towards the base. It's like above the roots called the crown. And when you go to plant your strawberry plant, you want to make sure that the soil is slightly beneath the crown because you don't want to bury the crown. So the crown has to get water, it needs to get sunshine. So that's how I feel. Like a strawberry plant, my crown is my headspace, if you want to think of it that way. I have to get air and I have to get sunshine. If I get trapped or I get like stifled by somebody, I am very discontented. It's just the feeling of not being able to do the things that I want to do.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Actually, I have felt that. I didn't put it into words quite like that or that analogy. I don't like feeling trapped. I don't
Mm.
like going in circles. I don't like not moving forward. I don't like feeling stuck. It just, that's always been who I am. And I don't like that feeling. I have to like reroute or do something different. In the past, I would just kind of run away from whatever it was and expect the same result. I learned that nope, you got to change something within in order to move forward. It's not
Mm,
always about everybody else. It's sometimes self reflection. It's about really examining why in that situation are you feeling that way. So
that's
good.
true. Looking in and looking out. I would say do both. I have a question for you, though, related to being content. How do you communicate the fact that you are content to other people, like your family
Oh, that's a good
and
one. That's a
friends?
good.
If you're feeling it inside, how do other people know?
I think they're feeling that because I just am smiling and I'm glowing, and I'll even tell them, I'm like, you know what? I really love you. And I really am glad you're in my life and you make me so happy. I use words and I think that it just shows throughout my whole body. I try to speak it. I try to tell people words of affirmation because that's how I feel.
Good. That's awesome. I'm glad that you're an expressive person. That's amazing.
How do you do it? Do you write them a little note? Do you say it to them?
Well, I think that my family might notice it because I'm more at peace. I'm less likely to get irritated and angry. So I guess that's one way. As far as verbalizing it, I don't always do that. So I could be better at improving that aspect of communication with my family to show them and also be a model.
That's a good point. Well, if you guys like what we're all about, please join us next time on episode 10, where we talk about cooking with love and feeding your soul.
Join us next time.
We are all about community. Join our community by following and subscribing to Be On It through YouTube, Instagram, and of course your podcasting platform so we can continue to bring Be On It to you. Just so you know, this is for entertainment purposes only. We are speaking from our lived experiences and are not licensed therapists.